Hey, it says we're live.
Hi.
Hey, everyone. Hey, this is Sheeta from Sheeta's on the Loose, and I'm here with Colby from World of a Wanderer.
Hello. How's it
Hello,
going?
hello. And I'm about to tell you more about Colby, and you will see me reading her bio because I don't have it memorized. Hold up. Colby Holiday is an adventure loving travel enthusiast with an insatiable heart for wandering. Yes, she is. She's a digital content creator, social media manager, and the founder editor of her travel and lifestyle blog, World of a Wanderer. Her journey inspires audiences to explore a world outside of their own and to see the wonder in wandering. You can learn more about Colby and read more of her content on www.worldofawanderer.com. Okay, now that I got the formalities out of the way, I am here today to say hey and to talk about life in Merida because Colby lives there. And you've lived there for how long?
I've been here for a little over 2 years now. I got here in January of 2019.
Okay, I thought you got there in 2018 for some reason, but I had that wrong.
Yep, 2019, two
Um,
years.
so how has it been?
Oh, it's been amazing so far. I mean, I originally came for 3 months just to kind of check it out and see how I like it. And 2 years later, I'm still here. So
Okay,
it's been pretty good, pretty good.
okay, all right. Um, I'm still double checking to make sure that we're actually live on YouTube because it's not showing up. But let's keep going because the you see the thing in the corner telling you we're live, right? It says we're
Yeah,
live. So someone
we'll go with it.
someone who can reach me, text me for live. Mama, I know you're supposed to be watching. Am I live? What's going on? What's going on? Okay, so we're here today to talk about life in Merida. If you have questions about life in Merida, please drop them in the comments. Because we want to know what you want to know. I've already collected some questions and oh, yes, it says you guys are here. Thank you. It says, I'm sorry, I want questions so that we can get to really the heart of what you want to know about life in Merida. But I'm going to tell y'all the number one question. I'm sure Colby already knows what the number one question is. Colby, what is the number one question people ask you about life in Merida?
I am sure it has to do with the heat and
It
how
is
hot
about the heat.
how I survive.
So we're not going to waste any time. We're going to go straight to it. What are your questions about the? I'm sorry. What do you tell people when they ask you about the heat in Merida?
It is hot here. Like hot, the heat. It's an understatement. When I came here, I'm from Georgia. I went to school in South Georgia, so it was hot. I'm used to hot, humidity. I'm used to all of it. But Merida is like heat on another level. There's like summer and super summer. There's no in between. There's no spring. There's no nothing. Like our winters are usually like 70 degrees. That's the cold weather, like cool weather. And you'll see people outside in like bubble coats and jackets. I'm like, what are you doing?
In
It's like
70 degrees?
outside, yes.
Ew.
So it's hot here. Like it's just hot. And the only way, like when I first moved here, I live in Central, so I live in a very walkable area. So I used to walk everywhere. And so I would have to get out and get up and do everything I had to do before 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, because after 10, like the heat is just unbearable. And there's not a lot of shade, there's not a lot of tall buildings or trees. And so it's just like direct heat. And so before 9 or 10 o'clock, I do everything I have to do for the day, then go inside somewhere, stay there for the duration until the sun goes down. And Merida is a city, like, because it's so hot during the daytime, everything happens at night. So the city comes to life at
Okay.
night because, it's just so hot during the daytime and just don't want to be out in the heat. And so they eat dinner late here around 9 o'clock at night. Activities are happening at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. You'll go to the plaza or like the park and just hang out at 10 o'clock at night. And there's like little kids running around at 10 o'clock. I'm like, what are you doing? What, don't you have school in the morning? Like, why aren't you in bed somewhere? But the city really does come alive at night. Um, yeah, so I remember this one of my Uber drivers, she invited me to join like her flag football team. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. I played flag football back in Atlanta. So I was like, okay, what time is it? I'll come check it out, get a feel for it. She was like, oh, the game started at 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, what? Man, I go to bed at 10:30. Like, I'm coming out to play at 10 o'clock at night. I was like, why so late? And she was like, because it's so hot during the daytime. Like, there's just no way that we could play any earlier. We have to wait till it cools down. So the heat is a bit deal. And despite what locals say, you do not get used to it. It does not get better. It's all a lie. Like, it's just hot. So yeah.
And so that's what I hear a lot when I hear questions. A lot of it is, how do you deal with the heat? And I'm like, I don't know. So how, besides being inside in the middle of a day, I'm adding Merida to my list of places that are like Malaysia, where it's like, I can do morning, I can do night, but during the middle of a day, I'm not going outside. So I guess that's two questions. How do you deal with it besides being inside all day? And my second question is, what's the humidity like? So whichever one you want first.
So dealing with it, honestly, is just finding things to do indoors. Like, you can still go out and do things and be active, but doing things indoors, like going to the mall, they have an ice skating rink. If you want to go ice skating, inside, you can do that. Having a vehicle helps, because you don't have, like I said, I walk everywhere. And so it's just really tough when you walk. So I'm not going to call an Uber to take me 5 minutes down the street when I can just walk. So I think having a vehicle, depending on the location that you're living in, it doesn't make it as bad, because you're going from the house to the car, from the car to where you're going. So it doesn't make it as bad. And a pool, like most houses, I would say, have like a pool, even if it's just a plunge pool here. So getting a place that has a pool, or has like, even if it's like the apartment pool or something, just finding ways to cool off. That's pretty much it, besides staying indoors. And the humidity. Oh, yes. Go ahead.
I was going to ask if your place has a pool.
It does not, but all of my friends have pools. So I spend time at their houses, whenever we want to take a dip.
Is that something you learned after? We will get back to humidity and question. I shouldn't have asked you two questions at once. Did you realize that having a pool would be beneficial after you moved there, or something that you knew in advance?
No, it's something I learned after I moved here. Had I known just how hot it was, I probably would have considered getting a place with a pool. Like, it never even crossed my mind. Like, having a pool was never a big deal, never something at the top of my list when I was looking for places. But then, like, now being here after 2 years, I'm like, pool would kind of be nice to kind of take a dip every now and then, especially my own space, instead of having to go to like a friend's house or something.
Okay, humidity. Is it like dripping sweat, dripping water, or is it? It is.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Like, it's another Malaysia. Yes.
It is. I was on a long layover in Malaysia, and hopped around, like, doing little touristy things while I was there, and I was like, grief, it is hot here. It's just like that. Okay. It is just that, like, walking 5 minutes to the ATM, like, I'm dripping in sweat. I'm like, I just walked 5 minutes. Why am I drenched? It's the humidity is pretty bad here, and it'll be like maybe 99 degrees, 100 degrees, with feels like 109, 110 degrees. So the humidity, it's suffocating. That's one word to put it, suffocating.
You said 99, and it feels like
109, 110. I've seen it feeling to like 140. It's hot.
Is that like the hottest day of summer, or is that just like, it's a Tuesday, that's what we're dealing with?
That's like a random, like, next week is supposed to be 97 degrees. Like, that's just.
It's March.
And, I was just talking to friends about this, like, yesterday or 2 days ago, that so far, it has not been as bad, because when I first got here, by the end of February, it was already in the high 90s. Like, the cool months here are from maybe late October, November to January, mid-February, maybe. But you only get like a 3-month window of just summer, and then everything else is super summer. Like, everything else is, yeah. That's the only thing. You're like, no, I can't.
No. My mom's been talking about moving there, and I'm like, well, who's going to come visit you? Because I'm not. I hope you have some other children.
My friend, she hates the heat, and I'm always cold. But even for me, like, heat it's pretty unbearable. But she's like, I'm sorry, I just can't come visit you. Like, you tell me the coolest time of the year, and then that's when I'll come. But any other time, you can count me out.
Yeah, that's a mess. So did you know what it was like? Had you visited before you moved there?
I've never even been to Mexico before I moved here. I didn't even know that Merida was a city. I'd never heard of it. Like, how I found it is I literally Googled safest places to live in Mexico, and Merida came up several times. It was between Merida and Oaxaca. And so I did like a few comparison contrasts, and Merida ended up, winning. And so 10 days later, I ended up here, and I've been here ever since. So I didn't know anything. I didn't do a lot of research. I didn't know anyone here. It was really just.
I feel like we need to talk about this more. We need to explore this more. So you were just like, you were living in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And you were just like, take me anywhere in Mexico where I'm going to be safe.
Yeah. So before, I was living abroad from 2015 to 2017. So I spent a year in South Korea, then almost a year in Spain. And then I was in my 30s. So I was like, you know what? Let me go back to the States, go home, adult, try to settle down, pop out a baby or three, like a little bit. So I went back home thinking all these things were going to happen in like 3 months or something. I don't know what I was thinking. And so I got back home. I lived in Atlanta. And after like 3 or 4 months, I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, this is not, I was reminded why I left it. I say it all the time, like the States for me is like that toxic ex that you don't need to be with, and you keep hoping things are going to get better and things are going to change. And so you keep going back, and then you go back and be like, damn it, I knew I shouldn't have come back here. And so that's kind of what it was for me. And so after that, I was like, yeah, but at that time I had a year lease. And so I stayed through my year. But during that time, I was like, I knew I wasn't going to stay longer than a year. And so I was like, where else can I go? I knew I wanted to go to another Spanish speaking country. I wanted to be closer to home, to be closer to family. My grandparents are getting older. So I wanted to be on this side of the world versus going back to Spain. And so I was like, Mexico, I haven't been there. I want to explore that a little bit. And so, yeah, I just Googled safest places to live, and it came up.
And 10 days later?
And 10 days later, I was here. Like, the universe it all worked out. It all worked out. My lease had ended with my apartment. I put in a 2 weeks notice with my job, but it was crazy. They weren't letting people work out like their 2 weeks notice. So when I put in my 2 weeks notice, that was my last day. Okay. And so I actually it worked in my favor because they still paid me for those 2 weeks. So I was like, if you want to pay me, fine. And so I worked up until 3 days before I moved here, but it was 10 days in total from the time I decided and booked my flight until the time I moved here. So.
Okay, I have 1,000 questions now. But it's interesting that you hadn't done any research.
Yeah.
But you've still been there for 2 years. So like you said, it worked out. So what are some things that you wish you had known about living in Merida? We talked about the heat already. Y'all, we have covered the heat. So besides the fact that it's like living on the sun, what do you wish you would have known before you moved down there?
Before moving here, like you said, we talked about the heat was one thing. But also before moving here, when I first moved here, there was not a large expat community. Like, there wasn't a large tribe or community. And the people that were here, they were more retirement age, like the older demographic, which is totally fine. But as far as people like my age, it wasn't like that hub. I didn't have like that community that I was hoping to have when I first moved here. And so I kind of wish I did a little research on that. Like, is there an expat community here? Like, who are the type of, or is it just, a little known place that no one knows about? So I kind of wish I would have known more about that before moving here. That's probably the biggest thing, is just, what to expect as far as expat communities, as far as moving here.
But I got the impression that there was a big expat community there. Does that happen later? Okay.
Yes, there is now. But when I first moved here, there was not. It was a very small community, very small. The first meetup I went to, there was about eight of us there, eight people. And so it wasn't large. And before, pre-pandemic, when we had a meetup, there were like 60 people. And that's just like the Black expat community. That doesn't even account for all the other, people that are here. And so when I first moved here, it wasn't a big community. And the people that did come, they were kind of transient. They would come, stay for 2 weeks, stay for a month, and leave. Like I was never able to build like those solid relationships with people when I first moved here. And, compared to the other times that I lived abroad, I was working, I had a job, I was working with a contract, I had a school, I had a handler, like people taking care of things for me. So I always had those people, but moving here, it was completely solo. Like had no idea what I was doing. I was finding my own place, like my own apartment. I was setting up utility, like I was doing everything by myself, and just not having that tribe. It was a little difficult just moving here, completely just by myself, not knowing anything or anyone.
Right. That does sound a little bit more difficult. And do you feel like you have those communities now?
Oh yeah, Merida has blown up. Like there's so many people. It seems like every week someone new is moving here. We have a Facebook group and people always chiming, I'm moving here next week. So the community has grown exponentially. And that's honestly what has kept me here thus far. Because after about 3 or 4 months, I started meeting people, like people were moving here. And so I met this community and then it just expanded. And so ever since then, like that community is what has definitely kept me here for the 2 years that I've been here.
Okay. So I have questions that people have sent to me over time, but I want to get to the comments of people who are here now. Say hi to a few people. Hi. I'm saying hi to everybody, but I might not say your name. Sorry. Hey, everyone. Daria and her husband are looking to go here first, she says. I don't know if she's going to other places in Mexico. If you do, gotta come to Mexico City because it's the best city, no matter what Colby says. Okay. Jennifer's here. Adelia's here. Janella, hey, girl. Courtney's here, and Courtney has a question. Courtney has some hurricane issues.
Okay.
And she wants to know, how does the area recover from hurricanes? That's to ask, does the infrastructure and local government respond well? I got hurricane PTSD from Texas.
Understandable. So Merida last year was the most rainfall that this city has gotten ever. Like it was record breaking. Before that, we would have like summer showers. It would rain 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there, and then stop and the sun would come out again. Like that was our rainy season. Last summer, it rained every day, like all day. And we did have like 3 different hurricanes come through. I know there was Cristobal, there was Delta, there were different hurricanes that came through, but they never directly impacted Merida the way that we thought they were. But the government did an excellent job of preparing us. Like they shut the city down. I know one of them, I can't remember which one it was, but they shut the city down at like 6 o'clock. They were like, everyone, stay at home, go home. Like we're shutting the city down, seek shelter. I will say one thing about this city is even when it rains, like when there's heavy rainfall, the sewage infrastructure is not that great. So the cities literally the streets turn into canals because the water has nowhere to go to. And so it does flood a lot. But the next day it kind of goes away. But that is one thing, to kind of take into consideration. But from what I saw from the hurricanes that came through last year, even though we weren't directly hit, they were supposed to hit us, but they never did. The government did a great job of being proactive versus reactive to the situation.
Okay. That's helpful. Wait. Okay, sorry, my headphones did something weird, so I couldn't hear you for a minute. Hey, y'all. Okay, let me get back to these comments because we got to Courtney's, and then I saw someone asked, is it the heat or the heat and the humidity? And it sounds like it is the heat and the humidity, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Verify for MM. Hey, Janelle wants to know, do you ride a bike in Merida or is it too hot for that?
So I don't have a bike. And one reason I didn't have a bike because initially, until very recently, like right now at this very moment, they're building bike lanes, but before then there were not bike lanes. So it was not a pedestrian friendly city. So I never owned a bike. I would, now that they're actually building these bike lanes, I would buy a bike and like ride it, not during the daytime, early in the morning, late at evening, but not like during the day. I would not, because it's just too hot. And they have something on Sundays. They don't have it now because of the pandemic, but the BC Ruta, they shut down the streets in the city, and they do make it, you can go bike riding, rollerblading, skating, like whatever you want to do. They like shut down the streets and make it all pedestrian. So that's kind of nice.
They do that here too in Mexico City. They shut down one of our biggest streets. Well,
yeah.
I think they're opening it back up in a few weeks. They shut down the biggest street, and everyone can just bike ride down. Yeah, me, being me, I'm like, I want to do it, but I don't own a bike, so I have to get one. They have a lot of rental. I don't know if they have them there. We have a lot of rental bikes here.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how long will I spend spraying and wiping that bike before I actually get on it?
Yes, times have definitely changed. They have definitely changed.
Yeah. So there are rental bikes in Merida as well?
Yeah, they have the rentals. You can do like the 2-person bike, so you can ride with the little. Yeah, it's super fun. And they have the tricycles if you're not comfortable being on like a bicycle. They have the trikes that you can.
They have grown-up trikes?
Yeah.
This is interesting. I'm a solid mid-afternoon person, so Merida does not sound like the city for me. Like I can do early morning, but 10 o'clock at night, I will be in bed, and I will have been in bed for hours. So I don't understand that life. Y'all going out and doing things late at night. All right. So Daria says, so it's not a good place for those who are active outside. Sounds like not a good place for people who are active outside in the daytime.
No.
Right?
No.
All right. Let's see. And have you been to Phoenix? Someone asked if the weather compares to Phoenix, Arizona.
I have not been to Phoenix, no.
Okay. And Daria said, so it's like California. I don't think it's like California. I think it's significantly hotter, if that's what you're relating it to. Okay. What other questions? Oh, Dewan, hey. Dewan is my brother's brother. So, and yes, Mom, watching this, I have a brother. You don't know him. It's fine. Hi, what do expat/immigrant families tend to do for their children's schooling? Local schools, private?
So I know my friends that have kids, there's 2 different options. A lot of parents homeschool, especially now, but they have like a whole homeschooling community. I don't know much about it. I'm not in it, but I do know that it does exist. And before the pandemic, most kids went to actual schools. They were immersed in these Spanish schools. Typically, they would be probably the only English-speaking students in the class. But that is an option as well. So they either go to school or parents homeschool. There's those 2 different things.
Okay. Daria wants to know, do you see any interracial couples there? My husband and I are looking at places that are not discriminating when it comes to interracial couples.
Yes. One of my closest set of friends around here, they live right around the block from me, is an interracial couple. There are several interracial couples here. It's not really a big issue or a deal here. So I would say, come on down.
Come on down. And Deborah wants to know about gyms. Are they plentiful? Are they not?
There are, since the pandemic, I hate to keep bringing it up, but since that,
it's where we are.
I know a lot of gyms have been closed. I know I used to go to a really nice gym and take these like hip hop fitness dance classes that were super fun, super exhausting, but it was a super nice gym. But it hasn't been open since the pandemic. So there are a lot of gyms. Actually, one of my friends, she leads a yoga class. So I actually did a yoga class this morning with a very small group of us, with my friends. And so there are different gyms. Some of them are very particular and they require you to have like a Mexican bank account. So if you don't have that, then you won't be able to sign up for a membership. Others, it's like, come one, come all, it doesn't matter. So it just depends.
Mexican bank account took me, my brain is just like zoom, zoom, zoom. Okay, Mexican bank account took me to a question. Do you have residency down there? Did you apply for that? Or are you on a tourist visa?
I am still on a tourist visa.
No worries.
As of now, every 6 months I have to leave and then come back. So,
but that's how a lot of people live down there, right? Yeah. So, and the reason, for people who don't know this, the reason Mexican bank account took me there is that for most people, I want to say all, but I hate talking in black and white. You can't get a Mexican bank account unless you are a resident. And so if you're on a tourist visa, you will never have a Mexican bank account, which means you don't have access to certain things like her gym or IKEA. For some reason, will only let you buy things with a card issued in Mexico. It's the only store I've seen. Yes, it's the only store I've seen do that. But if you need yes, you need a card issued in, because it doesn't happen anywhere else. Everybody else is like, it's a card with 16 digits and it works. Come through, right? What does it matter? Everybody else is like, that plastic money is the best money. Right. But with IKEA, they want, you have to have a totally random. And so I don't have any IKEA stuff.
But there are some workarounds around that. I don't know, is Rappi in Mexico City? Yeah, okay. So they have like a Rappi card. So if you're not a resident and don't have a Mexican bank account, you can kind of use that as your Mexican.
I didn't know there was a Rappi card.
Yes.
I'm learning things.
And you can take money from TransferWise. There's a whole thing that I won't get into the details, but you can use TransferWise to transfer money to your Rappi card to make sure that you get the best conversion rate, and then just your Rappi card wherever, like a Mexican bank account, like a Mexican bank card, I guess.
Okay. Now I know. Now everybody else knows. This is why you got to come to these lives, because we have someone has the answers. Yeah. Stephanie asks, is there hiking in Merida? She doesn't know if it's hilly or flat.
Is there hiking in Merida? What was the second part? I didn't hear it.
I don't know if it's hilly or flat.
It's very flat. There's no.
It's very flat.
There's no hills. There's nothing. It's flat. I know that I met a guy, I think last year, and he did mountain biking, but they would have to drive like an hour outside of the city because Merida is just completely flat. There's nothing here.
And you're 30 minutes from the beach, right?
Yeah.
Is that true?
About 30.
Okay.
Bresso.
And in an Uber, how much does that cost to get there?
I paid $20. I think I've only taken Uber once to the beach, and I think I paid $20 one way. Okay. One way.
And is it a quality beach, or is it like
It's a beach. Like if you just want to go to the beach and see some water, not pretty water.
She answered.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the questions that have been sent to us already. We are way off track, but that's okay. No, it's how all of these go like this. Is fine. Yeah. Safety was one of your number one concerns when picking Merida. So you do feel safe there, and you continue to feel safe there? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Merida is the safest city in Mexico and the second safest city in the Americas, so like North America. So it's a pretty safe city, and there's a huge police presence here. You cannot miss them. They ride around with the lights on all day, all the time. Mm-hmm. Yes, all the time. Mm-hmm. And just generally, people are just nice. Like people aren't going to try to hem you up or anything like that. Even the cops are not corrupt. You hear a lot of these horror stories in other places, like Playa or Tulum or something, like the cops like shaking you down, trying to get, money from you for whatever reason. It's not like that here at all. I feel safe like being solo and Black, walking at 9 o'clock at night to Walmart. I feel safe. I don't feel like I have to look over my shoulder or anything. So it's pretty safe.
Yeah, that's how I feel in Mexico City. Lots of cops.
Yeah.
They mind their own business. I feel like it's got to be like a paperwork thing. Like they don't want to be bothered with like what they got to do. Because truly, like unless you ask them a question, it's like they don't see, or they'll look at you, but they are not. They won't talk to you. They're like, if you stay over there, I'll be over here. It's fine. It's fine. Like, and so you do. I feel like Mexico has this bad rap of like the cops are corrupt, and I'm like, I'm not saying that doesn't happen in some of the more touristy destinations, but in the actual towns, and maybe some of the border towns too. I don't know. I don't go to border towns on purpose. But in most of the country, the regular people, like the citizens, they just want to leave you alone and be left alone. And the police are the same way. They're just like, you're here, I'm here, whatever.
everybody minds their business.
That's my thing. Everyone minds their business. But when you need help from a cop, they are there. They are always around. And they will help. Like if you're lost or whatever, they are helpful. But otherwise, they don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
Which we could use more of. All right, back to the questions. What's the cost of living like? Like, what is there a U.S. city you would compare it to?
No.
No. Okay, so tell us your spin on the cost of living.
That is as affordable as it is to live in Mexico. I don't know of any. Okay. Maybe there's some that exist. I know I did a post early on when I first moved here, and I kept like a record of everything that I spent for 3 months. And I think my total living in Atlanta, like rent and everything, was like 2,600 USD. My total living here, 1-bedroom apartment, utilities, whatever, was around $669 a month.
I'm sorry, what? Sorry. Let's back that up just a little bit.
Okay.
$669 for a month?
Per month.
Including rent and air conditioning. Okay.
Yeah. Now I would probably, because now I eat out. Like I stay on Rappi and Uber Eats. I eat out way too much. So now I would probably say my expenses are around $800 a month, give or take, maybe.
Yeah,
but still, for rent, utilities, air conditioning, running the air, like, because it's hot, everything. My rent, I have a 1-bedroom apartment in the center of town. I live on like one of the main streets in the city. So I'm like smack dab in the center. And my rent is 6,000 pesos. And USD, it fluctuates depending on the currency. So it's between like $285 to $300 a month for my 1-bedroom apartment.
Woo! Okay, so those of us in Mexico City are like, say what now, ma'am?
I know.
Say what now?
In March of last year, I was going to move to Mexico City because I've been dying to get there and I just wanted to spend some time there, but the pandemic. So March came, I was like, let me just stay where I know people, you know, I'm comfortable here instead of trying to figure out a whole new city during all of this. But I was looking at, you know, places in Mexico City to rent and I was like, what are these
numbers? Right. No, I get it. I get it. So, and I say this all the time. People are always like, oh, you moved to Mexico City because it's cheap. And I'm like, that's not why you moved to Mexico City. No. Like, that's never, anyone considering, this is a good point. If you're considering Mexico, people always think like, oh, overall, the cost of living is really low. And my cost of living is cheaper than when I was in America, but I would be paying multiples less.
Yeah.
Many multiples less per month if I lived in another town like Merida. Mexico City is one of the more expensive cities it's not going to say it's the most, but it's one of the more expensive cities in the country. Yeah. So you pay a premium to live here, but you don't need to, where you could live in the safest city in the country and pay under $300 rent. Woo, my feelings are hurt. We're gonna keep moving on. All right. So someone asked, where do you live? You said Centro. They were interested in Centro too. So if you're watching, I don't remember whose question that was, but I hope you have some follow-up questions to that. Do you recommend Merida for digital nomads / how is the internet?
Yes. So yes, I would. I feel like Merida is becoming the new Chiang Mai, and I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I don't know how I feel about it because there's a lot of people, a lot of digital nomads coming here. So the internet, I have a love-hate relationship with it. When I first moved here, I thought it was crap. Like, everywhere I went, it was just like the internet was not sufficient enough. It didn't work, whether it was a coffee shop, whether it was my apartment, no matter where it was. Now, I don't know it's better, seemingly. Also, when I came, there were 0 co-working spaces. And now more places, like more little co-working spaces are popping up with the sufficient type of internet that you would need to be a digital nomad. So that's awesome. The internet, so most of these buildings are like with cement walls. And so I have internet, my apartment actually comes with internet services included in my rent. So I don't have to pay for it. But because of these walls, it doesn't reach the back of my apartment. So I actually had to have internet installed. There's my little modem. I had to have internet installed back here so that I can have internet in my room or the back part of my apartment, and then also have it in the front as well. So, but it's like $17 a month. So it's not like breaking the bank having to have like a separate internet service. So yeah, I would recommend it for digital nomads because again, you know, these co-working spaces are popping up. There's a community here of digital nomads already. And so yeah, if you're a .comer, then it's a nice place to be.
So people in the comments are like, for that price, I could live on the sun. So your rent has people interested. And someone asked, what's my rent in comparison? Y'all gonna make me embarrass myself out here. Okay, so I have a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment in a luxury building in a very swanky part of Mexico City. I've got an Olympic pool and gym and all that stuff inside. I pay $1,000 a month for it. But my utilities are like less than 50 a month. So that makes it work out. Y'all made me do, like, it's fine. I've said this number in other videos and it feels fine, but saying it when someone just said 300, it's a little different to get it out. Right?
I don't have luxury amenities. I don't have a pool. I don't have, that's the one thing I don't have like an outdoor space in my apartment. So that's one thing that I wish I had that I'm missing. So, I mean, I guess it's a little trade-off, but still, I mean, you can, but even still, you can get, my friends have a house. One of my friends, she has a 3-bedroom, like 2.5 bath, nice house, swimming pool, like her own little backyard area, really nice. And I think she pays $900 a month. So still, I mean, you can get a whole house.
Get a whole house.
Right.
You can get a whole house on the sun for $900 a month. On the sun. All right, let's see. Cha. Let's see. They're trying to make me feel better. But like, that's less than most US cities. So I'm like, yeah, but I don't live in the US. Woo, okay. Someone asked if your apartment was furnished.
It did come furnished, yeah.
Okay, that was Miss Advice. All right, let's see what I haven't gotten to. Lots of, they want to move. How is the dating scene in Merida?
That is the age-old question, and I could not tell you. I don't have an answer because I have not dated in Mexico or in Merida. Yeah, I have no answer. People are very nice and very friendly here. The guys are very friendly. I just have not come across anyone that I'm particularly attracted to. So it just hasn't happened for me. Maybe it will at some point. I don't know, but it hasn't happened as of yet. So I don't know.
I think also sometimes it is hard for me. It's hard for me to know if this is flirting or whether this is just a very strange and awkward conversation. Because there are some cultural differences and so I'm like, what? I don't know what's happening here. So
let me tell you, so it's like my water guy, he ended up going to a different area, but my water guy, the kindest, sweetest guy, but he would send me these messages and they were like so poetic and like, your eyes are the stars and you're just so, I'm like, I don't know how to respond to this. I don't know if you're flirting or if, like you said, or if this is just how guys talk to women here. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It was very weird. Never went anywhere because, yeah, I don't know. I can't.
It was the last time I was here. I was in one of the neighborhoods, Roma, where I lived, and this guy was walking home from something, and this guy approached me. I don't know where he came from, so I assumed he jumped out of a van that he was going to try to shove me back into. Like, that's my brain was, because he asked me like 30 questions in 30 seconds, like, where are you from? Where are you going? Are you home alone? And I'm like, are you here alone? Like, is this you trying to get trying to get to know me? Or are you a kidnapper? Like, I don't know what's happening. And so I'm going to wrap this up and walk away because I don't.
Yeah.
The van has to be around the corner. Like, I just don't know. It was too much. Like, what?
Yeah.
Once he hit, are you here alone? I was like, we have to.
Yeah.
We have to end this. But I was like, right? Like, are you flirting? Where did you come from? Because I'm very situationally aware, and you weren't on the street a second ago. So where, girl? I was like, no, I can't do this. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Looking for more questions. Did you use a realtor when you found your apartment?
Yeah, so I use someone. Facebook groups are super informative and very resourceful. I highly recommend those. We have one in Merida. If you want to look at that, is Brothers and Sisters of Merida. So
I was going to ask you, what the most helpful one? What the most helpful group? Brothers and Sisters of Merida is the most helpful.
Yes, that one, and Merida Amigos. I feel like there's some more words in there, but if you put in Merida Amigos, that one will come up. Now, some of these other groups, let me forewarn you, they are very, they can just be very rude. It's very resourceful if you're just using like the search feature and searching for information. But if you ask questions, the people in those groups can generally be very rude. So just be prepared and just know. But in Brothers and Sisters, we got you. We will help you and not judge you. So.
I actually thought about that this morning. I looked at a group. I was looking at a post, and someone responded in a comment to the post. She responded in a comment to the post. Sorry for asking this question. I thought it was a safe space. And I was like, why would you? Because I look back and I'm like, there are over 450,000 people in this one group. And I'm sure Brothers and Sisters of Merida does not have 400, or the other groups do not have those numbers. But I was like, if you're asking a question in a Facebook group that has 450,000 people, it is not a safe space. It is not. I was like, ooh, you should have known. That would not be a safe space. No. And that's actually something that's really important too when you're using Facebook groups for information. It's to know what is a safe space and what isn't. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. And so you found your realtor in there?
Yeah.
Or from someone in there?
Yeah, a lot of people, I did like a search function and was just looking up information, and a lot of people recommended her. So I reached out to her. I'm not even sure if she's still here. I know at the beginning of the pandemic, she had left and went back to the States. So I don't know if she ever returned. But she was living here with her family. I don't know. But I also have a few other people that I know that my friends have used and can vouch for realtors if anyone is ever looking for anyone.
Okay. I would actually advise people go, instead of going to Colby, going to the group. But if you do want to go to Colby with questions, Colby does sessions with people who want to move to Merida. So if you want to move to Merida and you need advice, I'm going to drop a link so you can book a session with Colby, if this will let me. And she can give you all the advice and answer all the questions we're not answering here. Not that we're trying to answer all your questions, but y'all got a lot. And I'm typing and talking, so my bad. What haven't we covered so far, but is really important to know about Merida? Typing.
Talked about the heat, the community, cost of living. What else did you know about Merida? I don't know. So one thing you should know that if you are coming to Merida looking for Tulum kind of vibes, this is not that. This is not that kind of space. This is not that kind of city. It's not. Merida is a large city, but it has a very small town feel, and it's very spread out. But if you're looking for a lot of parties, if you're looking for just like that nightlife kind of vibe, that's not really it here. It's a much slower pace. It's very family friendly type of environment. So if you have families, it is perfect for that. Pre-pandemic, there's literally something like every night activities, festivals, like concerts, all kinds of things always happening all the time. But it's a slower pace than the bigger cities that you would see, like a Mexico City or like a Tulum or anything like that. So if you come here, just don't come with those kind of expectations, because it's a slower life. But it's something that I can appreciate because I'm a city girl. I love the city, which is why I'm dying to get to Mexico City. But Merida allows me to slow down for a little bit and just be present and just enjoy life and living and just a different quality of life. So just say manage your expectations a little bit when you come here.
Okay. All right. Is there access to good medical care?
Yes. So we have, I think there's like 3 big hospitals here, but that's another thing about living here. It's so convenient. Everything is literally at your fingertips. Like you can message I personally have not had to use like the medical healthcare system, so I can't speak directly to it, but I know my friends have. But you can message, WhatsApp your doctor and they'll come to your house and do an appointment, like an in-home appointment. This was pre-pandemic. This is just like on a regular Tuesday. It didn't matter. And not just like come in and hurry up and get you in and then go to the next person, like sit down and actually have a conversation with you and get to know you as a person versus just a patient or a dollar sign. You can, like the hospitals, I had a friend in a hospital, and from what we experienced, like the quality of care was excellent. I had a friend, she chopped off her finger with a new knife that she had and had to go to the hospital and had her finger reattached. But the medical care and the cost of it was like $250 to get her finger sewn back on. In America, you could never. That's the ER visit, going to urgent care, not to have a hand surgery. So very good medical and healthcare. Most things, unless it's like not narcotics, what are the like pain medicines and stuff, are hard to come by, but anything else, you can buy stuff over the counter and it's not going to cost you like $100 to buy. I know one lady was talking about her parents' diabetes medicine was like $300 a pop in the US, and here it was like $60. So just the affordability of it all.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Another question. Oh, a question that this is a Courtney question, but it was something that I dealt with when I was moving in here. Your place is furnished. Do you like the furniture? Because in a lot of the photos we see online of furnished places, it's like.
Yeah. So my place is very simple. It has like a little built-in closet, a bed. It doesn't have like a headboard. My space is small, so I don't have a lot of furniture to begin with. The little sofa that I have is not even really a sofa. It looks like it belongs on a patio, honestly. So it's not like, if you want something to your taste, you would be better getting something unfurnished, because a lot of the places are not going to have stuff to your liking. Like they're just not. All of my friends who bought places that were furnished, sofas aren't comfortable. The beds are really firm. Like if you don't like these things, then you probably should get something unfurnished and then just furnish it yourself, because it's not that great, honestly.
So my apartment is unfurnished, and yes, I'm paying this much for an unfurnished apartment, but I will say this, at least in Mexico City, plush, really like comfortable couches are a thing you have to like fight for. Like I went to maybe 6 different furniture stores before I was like, okay, I'll take this one. Because
she ended up having a sofa made because she couldn't find anything. And so she had a sofa made. Another friend had like a table and chairs. Like she had the chairs, the cushions, everything made, because it's just not comfortable furniture here. Like you think you're gonna lie on the couch on a Sunday afternoon and watch TV all day. It's not happening.
That's not it. I found one sofa and I was like, I can lay on, this is okay. But everything else was like, it was like sitting on like a piece of plywood with like a piece of fabric and maybe like a thin piece of batting in between you and the plywood. But it feels like I have sat down, and that is just one thing. But, and when I went to look for mattresses, when I found one that I was like, yes, this is so soft and luxurious, I could be here all night. It was like a $5,000 US dollar mattress for a queen size.
Yep.
And I was like, I have a lease for a year. I'm not spending $5,000 on a mattress.
Oh.
But that's when I finally found one that I was like, oh, this is me. I was in it. Homeboy was like, come look at this price. my salesman was like, come here real quick and just check that number before you get too comfortable. Just know what I was like, oh no, that's not. I thought it was for me, but it's not for me anymore. Like,
changed real quick.
Real quick. And so that's something if you're looking at furnished places, know that there's a different level of comfort from furniture that is made down here. And I even went to West Elm, and their furniture, I was still like fighting to get comfortable pieces. So I don't know if they make it different down for like
Yeah.
for sale down here or what, but I was like, out of the 10 couches I sat on, 2 were like, you sit in and you sit down a little bit. There were only, I think, 1 or 2 that were like that.
Goodness.
Why is it like that? Okay, someone asked, is there Amazon and Mailbox services?
There's Amazon. Amazon.com delivers here, and they have Amazon MX. They also have Mercado Libre, which is like an Amazon, and they usually deliver like within 1 or 2 days. So, but if you're getting stuff shipped from outside of the, like outside of Mexico from the US to here, DHL or FedEx or somewhere, use those services, because USPS, you'll probably never get it. Like, I remember ordering a book in January. I got it in March. My sister sent something like priority mail, my updated bank card, and it took 2 weeks to get here. So, yeah, no.
I'm always like, who's coming down? Who can, like, let me ship something to you. That's how I do it. My mom is coming down in a few weeks, and I'm like, these are just shipping Amazon stuff to her house. Because also, the thing to know about like Amazon MX, and I know it can be different with Amazon US, but I haven't seen the shipping be very low on some of the things that I want. But if you are trying to get the same things, like the same brand of things that you get in the US, for a lot of them, they cost significantly more in Mexico. Like so I can't find Swiffers down here.
I've been looking for Swiffers for 2 years.
I cannot find, they don't Swiffer, but I have tile floors. I want a Swiffer. And so I looked at this Bissell steam mop, and I was like, if I can get this will take care of some of my problems, right? Because my floors are always, I live next to a construction, the building next to me, they're still doing construction. And so if I leave my patio, it's a little bit of dust, not a lot, but a little bit. It's like $75 in the US and $200 on Amazon Mexico to get here. And I'm like, but it don't cost that. It weighs like at the most like 3 pounds. Why? It doesn't cost $125 to ship it down here. Like, things are just exorbitantly more expensive if you're looking for. Now, I can get some kind of generic steam mop down here for the same price, but electronics are typically a lot more expensive down here than they are in the US, even if they're made down here. I don't know why. My TV costs a lot more. It was refurbished and still costs more than it would have cost in the US. And the first time I ordered it, it fell off the back of the truck and disappeared. Amazon was like, it'll be here at 8 p.m. It's on the delivery truck. It's on its way to you. It'll be here at 8 p.m., by 8 p.m. At 8:15, Amazon was like, hey girl, we don't tell you. If a TV doesn't show up in 5 days, we're just gonna give you a refund. And the TV did not show up in 5 days because the TV is in someone else's home right now. And so, I mean, it was a big TV in a box that was like TV. And so I've gotten every other Amazon package just fine. No problem. The TV, whoever was delivering the truck that day was like, I will risk it all for this TV. And they did. It was on the back of a truck until it wasn't.
Oh my God.
I'm not like, got my money back, repurchase the same thing for the price that dropped a little bit. But yes, so electronics in general are more expensive down here. And so those are things to keep in mind if you're moving down. Does it make more sense to buy electronics there than to get electronics you have shipped there? I don't like the idea of shipping anything down here. What do you think?
Yeah, no, because customs, they can hold your stuff and you'll never see it ever. But also you have to pay an import tax on that stuff. So I've received a package. It was a box. It wasn't even like that big of a box. Had like a duffel bag and some other stuff in it. I paid like $100 in import taxes for that one box. The taxes cost more than the product itself. But a way around that, you didn't hear this from me, is if you say that the value of the item, if it's not that important, you don't need it insured. If you say the value of the item is less than $50, then you avoid those import taxes. If not, you may end up paying $100 for import tax for a duffel bag.
So that's when you ship it with the shipper. You say that it's less than
US. Yeah.
With the shipper going down. Yes. When they pay for insurance, they pay less. And then the customs or whoever holding it for the import taxes already know, or is this at like the DHL office that you're paying the import taxes?
So the
Or
DHL
whatever.
office, once I think I received an email first because I was the recipient, they put my email address in. So I received an email that there was going to be an import tax. And then when he arrived, he told me again, like, I can't give you this package until you pay this $100 fee. So I was like, this, and he didn't take card. I had to pay cash. I was like, I don't have cash. And so, yeah, that's just one thing you
Okay.
have to be cognizant of if you're having things shipped to you, is there will be an import tax of 16%. Whatever you're having shipped, it'll be 16% of
You said
that
1/6.
1/6.
Okay. I thought you said
That's
6/0, and I was like, what are
oh
we
no,
doing?
no, 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 no. But that's not even you can go
Now,
home, fly home, and come back for that amount.
if you're coming down as a permanent resident, I don't remember if this is for temporary residents as well. If Adelia is still here, she will correct me. Please do in the comments. But I think it's permanent residents only. You can bring household goods, like one shipment of household goods down, and pay less than you would, but it's also very tricky timing wise to make sure you timed it correctly so you can get it, or they might just hold your stuff forever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's shipping things here isn't the easiest way to go. Sometimes you just gotta pay to play and pay a little more for what you want.
And products, I know friends who've had like hair products, vitamins or supplements, they won't get through. Like they've had it never came. So lots of people have that problem.
Vina in real life says she checked a hair product on Amazon Mexico, but it's $6 US and $64 if it's purchased from Amazon Mexico. Yes, that's what we're talking. That's what we mean. Yes, yes. I said on another video this week, I think, that there's a supplement that I like that is $44 in the US and $75 to get here. And I'm like, it weighs a pound. It does not cost $30 to ship to me. I'll just jack it up the price just because. Yeah. And I can't find it in stores down here. So my choices are to buy it or to have someone else add a little pound to the luggage for me. All right. So let's see. Adelia says it's illegal to ship vitamins to Mexico.
Oh, who knew? That's why they're always held at customs then.
Adelia knows. Adelia be knowing everything. Everything. Okay. So what about beds, bedding, and sheets? Are we comfortable? So we talked about beds. No. Oh, let's talk sheets. Mexico's notorious for sheets.
My sheets. First, well, they came from Walmart. Maybe if I went to a higher quality store, whatever. First, they don't fit because they have these matrimony beds. I don't know what size bed you have, but I never even heard of a matrimony bed. It's larger than a twin, but smaller than a full. Yes. So it's like somewhere in between. And so my fitted sheet won't fit all the way over the thing. That's the first issue because it's like it's a mattress top, but it's still not comfortable. It's still very firm. And then the quality is just bad. Like it just gets all those little pilly, like little, it's just like, I just want a good pair of sheets.
So this is something that everyone talks about down here. And so I heard the other day that Costco sheets were good. Okay. And so I went to Costco and I was like, cool. For my queen size bed, the sheets were $85. And I was like,
just the sheets.
Costco. What are we doing, Costco? Why? Why? For cotton sheets, $85? For Kirkland brand sheets? $85, Costco? Why are you playing games? So sheets are something that a lot of people bring down with them, but of course you need to know what your bed size is or you'll be like Colby running around. But yes, beds, it's just, there's a level of discomfort here that people are used to, but a lot of us spoiled Americans are not used to and don't want to get used to. And so that's just something to keep in mind. Let's see. Penny invested in Vitamix a few years ago. Will it work in Mexico? Yes. All the electronics, all of my US electronics work just fine down here. Yeah. Do you get US TV?
I don't have a TV, but because I don't watch a lot of TV. So that's another thing. Like my apartment did not come with a TV. It did not bother me. But if you like to watch a lot of TV, that may be something you consider. So I just use my laptop for my shows that I do watch. I use my laptop. Hulu and something else doesn't typically work unless you use a VPN. So I usually use like a VPN to make it appear that I'm in the US so that I can access Hulu or whatever I want to watch. Netflix works fine. Yeah, that's simple. And I have other sites that I use to watch other stuff that is not available on Netflix or Hulu. So.
Okay. I use a VPN to watch like ABC, NBC, the basics, and Netflix. Last time I was in Mexico, in 2018 when I was in Mexico, I tried to use Hulu with a VPN, and Hulu was like, haha, you thought.
They will catch you. Like I don't have Hulu. I think I got like a 30-day free trial because there was something I wanted to watch. But yeah, every now and then they'd be like, nope, looks like you're using a proxy. So
yeah. So I was in my free trial when they were like, no, ma'am. And then they were like, do you want to pay for this? And I was like, you said no, ma'am. And so that's what we're sticking with. Like, that's not a thing. Someone asked, to get in your apartment, did you have to pay a lot up front?
So typically, it depends, but typically you have to pay first month's a deposit, which is usually equivalent to first month's rent, and what they call a vow fee, which is like a lawyer's fee. And it depends, but usually is also the equivalent of 1 month's rent. So essentially you're paying 3 months up front, typically. Me, I didn't, my landlord ended up waiving like the lawyer fee, so I didn't have to pay that. So I just paid 1 month's rent and the deposit, which was equivalent of 1 month's rent. So it depends, but usually you're going to be paying around 3 months rent up front.
I think I paid 4 or 5 months rent up front, only because I got a lower price. Because not counting the first month's, last month, all of those other fees, I was like, can I get this price if I give you 3 months rent up front? And they were like, okay. And then when they started changing things, I was like, well, then I won't pay you 3 months rent up front. And they were like, no. We won't make those shit. Like, they really wanted that 3 months rent up front. Yep. They were willing to do other things to get it. And I was like, okay, we can do this. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, let's see. Adelia says cotton sheets are like gold down here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. $85. Kirkland brand. Where is the cheap and good quality? It's not here. All right, let me go back to my list and see what we have. Oh, what do you like? Oh no, a couple questions. First one is, you mentioned co-working spaces earlier. What's your favorite co-working space or coffee shop to work at?
So I have a couple different ones because I love working out of coffee shops. I just like the vibe of coffee shops. There's one, I won't say, but there's a coffee shop called Bota that I really like. That's one of my favorites. El Orden del Chaos is another coffee shop that's really good. That one's kind of small on the inside. They have an outdoor space, but they also have like a little space upstairs. So if you want to hold like a conference room, it's kind of like a loft. Those two are my favorites. The best co-working space here, because I've tried several of them, but the most advanced and most modern one is Conexion 60. And this one is super new. They just built it last year, I want to say. And they have tons of offices, so you can rent out an office space for the month. Or if you just want to do like a day pass, you can do a day pass. They have coffee machines. They have a lunchroom. It's like 2 or 3 floors. The total thing, I can't remember because it's all in one big building, but I think they occupy 2 or 3 of the floors that's in the building. Internet is super fast. Ori, the manager that's there, she is amazing, super helpful. So that's the co-working. Like there are no other co-working spaces besides that one. Like that's the only one that matters. Because the rest are not good. Like they're just yeah. Oh, I actually have a blog post on the coffee shops and co-working spaces here. So
send that to me, drop it in the thingy, and I will put it in. But I was actually going to put in another blog post of yours. Let me drop that in the comments. Work for me. If you want to know about life in Merida, drop this in. Colby has a blog post about it. Nope, That did not pull up. That pulled up the title. I can't do 3 things at once. Okay, so what is your least favorite thing about living in Merida?
My least favorite thing, besides the heat, because I really do not like the heat here. Mosquitoes is another very big thing here. They will eat you alive.
You said mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes. I feel like that's a Mexico thing, but especially the areas that's just like hot all the time in the tropics. The mosquitoes here are vicious. And then they carry diseases like dengue. So you got to be extra careful. So you always have to like have on repellent, always. And besides that, I would probably say going out to eat with not even large groups of people, just a group of people. And this is, I don't even know if it's something that I just hate. It's just a nuisance and annoying. But they will not split the bills here. And it is the most aggravating and annoying thing when you're with a group of people and it's not even the whole splitting of the bill, it's the whole check, getting the check in general. Like usually it takes 30 to 45 minutes to sort out, to deal with and do the check situation. Like after you finish eating, you have to wait like another 30 to 45 minutes just taking care of the check, whether it's waiting for them to bring over the one machine that they have in the whole building or paint, like it's just a headache. Even like the other night, we had a farewell dinner for a friend, and because with COVID restrictions, there were 3 of us at one table and then 5 people at another table. But for some reason, they decided to put all the entire check together for 2 separate tables with 2 different waiters. And it's like, why would you do that? Why? It just causes so much confusion. And so it's just always a hassle with the check. So that's a very small and insignificant thing. But if I had to say, like going out to eat, I'm just like, oh, every time the check comes, it's just annoying.
Okay. So. The check comes when it comes it feels like a very European thing that people, and that is just like, it is what it is in Mexico. Like you really have to be like, I would like to leave, but I would like to pay you first.
Yeah.
Please let me pay you because I don't want to be here all night. And it's not like they're asking like, do you want anything more? Do you want any coffee? That's not it either. It's not like they're like in a lot of restaurants where they're like, what else can I bring you? It's really like, I'm going to leave you alone until you say something.
That's another thing. Exactly. If you don't ask for it, and if you're not specific, you're not going to get it. Like if you don't ask for water, you're not going to get water. If you don't ask for ice in that water, you're not going to get ice in that water. Like the service here is a different level of service that you would expect in the US. It's kind of non-existent. So that's something that you have to get used to. And I find that there's a lot of like that in a lot of places in the world, but service is just, it's not, don't come here expecting service like the US because you're not going to get it like at all.
I got a mojito the other day. And I think because I didn't specifically ask for the mezcal that it said was on the menu, I don't think they put it in there. I was like, this is sugar. It said mezcal margarita, but I drank it to the bottom. And this is my first drink in 2 months. Did I need to say, put the alcohol in the drink? Because you didn't. And I don't know what's wrong. I don't know where the disconnect was when it's right there on the menu that it's supposed to. And so I feel like service in Mexico City isn't bad. It's just in the very beginning, they're over your shoulder, like, what you gonna order, what you gonna order, what you gonna order. And at the end of the night, they're like,
yeah.
we have finished. And I'm like, no, you haven't finished until I've paid you. Like, we got to get, but whatever. Okay, let me go back to my list of questions. Someone asked if I had to get a fiador in Mexico City. No, but I paid 1 month's rent. I didn't have the lawyer fee, but I had that. That's what I paid for, was not having a guarantor, because a lot of places in Mexico want that guarantor. All right. What do you like most about living there?
The cost of living. I mean, you just said the cost of living. I think it's actually 3 C's: the cost of living, the community, because like just having that, and I spoke about it in the beginning, like having that tribe and having that community here is incredible. And again, that is what's made me stay here for 2 years thus far. Cost of living, community, and the convenience, just the convenience of everything. And so much, I might have almost gotten a little lazy because it's just, everything's just at your fingertips, whether it is getting groceries delivered. And yes, I know that's available in the US, but it's so much cheaper here. You getting groceries delivered, having someone deliver like something from the pharmacy. If you need something from the pharmacy, they'll bring it to you. If you need cash, they will bring you cash on Rappi. Like I said, you can have your doctors come make house calls to your house and never have to leave and go out and go to hospitals or urgent care or anywhere. Having just chef, like you can have someone come in and prepare your meals for a week for like $70 and not have to cook for the week. So it's just like all of these, the convenience and the affordability of it all is probably like what I love most about being here.
Follow-up question that hit me while you were talking about convenience. What airport do you use if you want to get back to Atlanta?
Pre-pandemic, I was flying out of Cancun. Now I fly out of Merida because they do have an airport here. Is you will not find like a direct flight. So usually I have a layover in Mexico City or either Miami. Okay. But the flights here used to be really expensive. Well, relatively speaking, like versus flying out of Cancun. So flights would be like $500 or $600 flying out of Merida versus like $100 flying out of Cancun. So I would take the 4-hour bus ride to Cancun and fly out of there for like $100 instead. But now the prices, I think I've gotten a flight for like around $150 one way. Okay. So I fly out of Merida to go to Atlanta whenever, if I ever need to go home.
Okay. So is the price drop the reason that your preferred airport changed during the pandemic? Or is there something? Okay. It's not the 4-hour bus ride. It's just that the prices are, okay.
Yeah. Well, that part too, the last time I did the 4-hour ride, I was like, I cannot do this again. Like it makes for a really, really long travel day. Like having to, because you have to, usually the flights are super early in the morning. So I have to catch like a 5 o'clock bus to Cancun for 4.5 hours, then catch a flight with a layover. Like it's just too much. And so I was like, the last time I was like, I can't do this. I don't care how much the flights are out of Merida. I'm flying out of Merida from now on. And so, but then the prices dropped. So it made it even better. So. Yeah.
Are you on the Autobus from Cancun to Merida, or is that what you take? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That's so, the Platino bus is. No, that is a nice bus.
The Platino.
Yeah.
I've heard good things about that one. Yeah. Yes. Okay, so we're talking about. Let me drop this in the comments for anyone who wants it. There's a bus line. I have never taken it. It's the. No? I've taken to San Miguel de Allende from Mexico City. Is pretty much the only. I've taken buses in Guanajuato and there, but I usually take Primera Plus.
Okay, I don't even know that one. I
haven't. And I heard from someone else who travels down here a lot that Otto's Platino line is a step up from Primera Plus, but Primera Plus is like it's luxury to me. You know what I mean? Like. It's got the TVs, they give you the headphones, they give you snacks. None of it during the pandemic, but that's, the usual things. I'm like, it's fine. This is good because some of them, we should say this because we're talking about buses and I want you guys to be aware. Do not go online and buy a random ticket to a random bus line that you have never seen before. If you have not seen their buses operate, or if you see a little kiosk in the bus station and it looks cheaper than the other bus lines, unless you're an adventurer. Don't do that.
You end up on the chicken bus.
I have heard some of these engines rattling at the bus stops, and I'm like, I don't know if y'all gonna make it to the next spot. I don't. Bus lines in Mexico are like, yes, I would ride on that, or Yeah. So just to make sure you don't end up on Otto has Platino Plus and another one. Platino. Otto has Platino and another one that's kind of high end. I can't remember.
The highest.
Yeah, but there's another one that's under it, but it's still like luxury-ish. I don't know what it's called. I've never taken it, but someone mentioned it to me. And then I think the regular auto line is fine too, right? Yeah. The regular auto line is fine too.
Seats, and they lay all the way back, like they're really nice.
I like Primera Plus. If it's not one of those that we just mentioned, Google for some pictures first. Don't just get on Mailbox in there. Because I care about you. I don't want you doing that. You will end up on some places. Okay, so 2 questions. How does Merida compare to Oaxaca, and how does it compare to Playa?
Ooh, so I've never been to Playa, surprisingly.
Okay.
I know. We were supposed to go last year. The weekend we were supposed to go, the hurricane hit. And so we had to cancel our trip.
Mm-hmm.
So I have not been there. Oaxaca, I actually visited there a few weeks ago, Valentine's Day, around that time. So last month. Oaxaca's amazing.
Really?
Yes.
Valentine's Day?
With my friends. This was not a romantic trip, though I wish.
Okay.
With your cup. At any rate, it was really nice. Oaxaca's beautiful. They have landscapes, they have mountains and hills, everything that is not in Merida, because again, Merida is very flat. And just like if you are a foodie, even if you're a finicky foodie like me, like I'm so picky, but I love to eat, it's my favorite thing to do. This is the foodie capital of Mexico. So if you don't do Oaxaca, go there for all the things, all the food, all the everything. And just like wandering, just walking around like the city and just the culture, and it's beautiful. I don't know if I think I made the better decision for me living in Merida versus Oaxaca, just because they've tried to preserve, and I didn't get to explore like outside of central Oaxaca, so I can't speak to that, but they tried to preserve as much as the history and the culture of central Oaxaca as they could. So you won't find supermarkets, you won't find like any restaurants like McDonald's or I don't know, KFC, which you'll find down the street here, but you won't find these things. They don't have Uber there, which was that was kind of a big, when I was deciding between Oaxaca and Merida to live, Merida had Uber. So I was like, I'm moving to Merida because I need Uber, because trying to take a bus or these taxis, I'll deal with it now. But I found out they do have something similar to Uber there. So they do have like a ride share kind of platform. So it does exist. But Oaxaca's amazing. I highly, highly recommend it. I will go back again and again, I'm sure. Beautiful place. And the food.
That is on my list. Oaxaca's on my list to check out. And I'm thinking maybe after I go to Merida. Someone asked if there are a lot of spiders in Merida.
No, I have not heard stories about spiders, but you will find scorpions. I haven't, but I know plenty of people who have come across scorpions in their bathrooms. So that's one thing.
Not outside. You mean like inside? Inside,
in your house, cohabitating with you, living there rent-free. Yes.
Okay. Mildred wants to know, this is a specific ass question. Hey, Mildred, can a 64-year-old with an 8-year-old enjoy the summer in Merida?
That is very specific.
That's right.
But yes, because there are a lot of pre-pandemic, there are a lot of things to do here in Merida for kids, whether it's going to the malls. La Isla is one of the malls here, and apparently they have this whole like entertainment kind of aspect to it. So they have like go-karts inside the mall, they have zip lining, they have like this ski thing. So there are a lot of indoor activities to do with kids. They have like the I don't know what they're called now, like jumping gyms is kind of what we used to call them back in the day. Those kind of things, like the bouncy with the balls, all those kind of things. And then even just like there are a lot of families here in general, like Black families. So they host, and one of my friends, she hosts what she calls Wonder Garden. And so I think they meet like on Wednesdays for an hour, and they do like little arts and crafts with kids. So there's always something going on. Just this past Saturday, they had like a little outdoor field day with kids. So all the kids come to the park and they did like a little field day. So there's tons of things to like. This is a very family friendly type of place. So if you have a kid, yeah.
Okay, good. Not Mildred's question, but another relevant question is, do you recommend it for retirees? Part one. Yes?
Yes. When I first moved here, that was the entirety of the community that was here. We're retirees. So there's a lot of people come here to retire, and I can see why. Like, it's not a busy, bustling city. Not saying that retirees are they just want like this slower life, but it's a beautiful city to just live an easy life. Like, it's just, oh, I love it. As a 35-year-old, I love it. So coming here as a retiree, there's a lot of expats here who are retirees. So,
second part of the question is, what's the best part of Merida to live in on a limited income? Sounds like everywhere to me, but go on ahead and tell us. I'm a little bitter. Go ahead and share.
Yeah. So Central, definitely I would say Central. You have neighborhoods like Santa Ana and Santiago. Those areas are pretty, affordable. I currently live in Santa Ana. And so, I mean, I pay $300 a month. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much it costs here.
I pay $300 a month.
But if you're on a limited income, this would be a great area. And it's in Central, so you're close to everything. You can walk to everything. Like all of my favorite coffee shops, restaurants, everything. It's like in a 10-minute walk around me. Walmart is a 20-minute walk. So other neighborhoods, if you don't want to be in the middle of everything and you don't mind being further out, there's a neighborhood in the far north called Cauquel. It's about 25-30 minutes outside of Central, and you can get like a nice, and it's more modern. It's like more modern type of apartments and townhomes and houses. And my friend, I think she paid like 6,500 pesos, so maybe 350 a month or 3 something a month. But again, it's outside of the city, so it's kind of far. There's not like a whole lot around, but that's an option. Areas in the north, not the far north like Cauquel, but in the north, there's going to be more expensive. You have more modern amenities like your Costco's and all the nice fancy malls. All of that stuff is in the north. So you're going to pay a little bit more going there, living in the north. But again, you can still find something around like 900 USD per month, what my friend is paying now. And you pay not 1,200. I know another friend, she pays around 1,200 a month for her house, but they're like huge homes. So it's not like you're paying 1,200 for a 1-bedroom apartment. Like, these are massive homes that you get a lot of house for that amount. So it just depends. But I would say Central, Santa Ana, Santiago, that area.
Okay, so we are getting to the end of this, and the questions, I know we can keep going. There's no limit, but I don't want to drag you out. We've been here for 90 minutes. And so I like to be cognizant of your time. The questions are getting very specific. Some of them are about bugs. Some of them are about very specific things. So if you have a question that I have not asked Colby, that you put in the comments earlier and I missed it, please drop it in again if you're still watching. Some of the questions we're getting now we've already answered. I want to talk about cockroaches, so I'm not going to ask you about cockroaches if you want to say something.
I won't talk about cockroaches. I will talk about geckos, though.
Okay. All right, go for it.
Someone asked about the spiders. You won't find spiders. You might find scorpions. You will definitely find geckos. They're everywhere. And if you're afraid of them like me, then it will be an adjustment. I have shed tears over geckos being in my apartment. So it is a real thing.
In your apartment, not
in
around.
In my apartment. Now, this apartment, because this is a different apartment from when I first lived here. So this apartment, I have 2 geckos that are outside. They cannot get inside, but they come hang out every night on my window. I see them, they're on the outside, that's fine. But in my other apartment, these little tiny geckos would get in my apartment all the time. And it would freak me out. And there have been several tears shed over these geckos because I don't like geckos. So that is one thing to be cognizant of, if you're afraid of critters and creatures, there will be geckos around. So just know.
The wonderful teacher asked about Central and flooding during the rainy season, but we already covered that. It comes, if it's really rainy, it floods for a day and then it's gone the next day, right?
Yeah. Like if it rains consistently for an hour, the streets are going to flood. Like it's just going to turn into a canal, but then it stops.
In Mexico City, in the rainy season, if it rains for like 3 hours, it floods and then it goes away. But this is not the US. And even some places in the US, aren't that great with this kind of thing either. But there are things where I'm like, yeah, that's not a thing. Oh, wait. So I talked about my Mexico City apartment this week on another video, and I talked about the sewer smell. Do the apartments in Merida or buildings, do some of them have that sewer smell as well?
No.
Okay. So the way the pipes are done here, every other one place you go into, it's the smell of sewer leaves, but it also comes back. Okay. And then people just cover it with a little, I don't know what they do here, but they use a little drain cover to cover it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And it works sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time. So good to know. So Merida doesn't have any, you've never been in a home in Merida where you could smell sewer.
What I was gonna say. I've never experienced it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I haven't smelled like sewer smells.
Okay. Jennifer wants to know, should I apply for my residency while here in the States? Since I enjoyed my stay in 2018, I definitely want to stay for at least a month when I go. You can't apply while you're in Mexico. So I would say if you're unsure of how long you want to be here, I feel like the Mexican residency process is easy enough and affordable enough that if you think it's something you want, you might as well apply for it before you come down. Another important factor about it is that once you come down, you have 30 days to do some additional paperwork, and then you got to wait for them to send you, and you got to pick up paperwork. But once that happens, you can go back to the US immediately and your residency is still good. I'm not saying you can be back there for years, but you don't have to stay. In some countries, you have to stay in the country for a number of months before, and that's not how it is in Mexico. So for Exodus Summit, I hosted a workshop. That's the word I'm looking for. A workshop on getting residency in Mexico. So I'm going to drop that in the comments. For anyone who has questions about residency, this one I believe was really helpful. You can ignore me because I was the host of it. But I thought it was really helpful for people who actually want to get residency in Mexico to figure out what they need to do to get there, to get it all done correctly. Adelia was our guest speaker. Hey, Picky Girl Travels. And I'm typing and talking again, so you know how that goes. Okay, so I just dropped that link. I'm going to in a minute. Residency in Mexico workshop. I see you found the video.
I was just checking it out.
Okay, I'm afraid about bugs. May have to find a high-rise to live in. You might have to. Miami and flooding, yes. What's it like Thanksgiving to just after New Year's there? I'm thinking about moving there for at least for the winter.
That is the best time. If you were to come to live here any other time, I would say, even just to visit, that time specifically would be the best time.
Is it busier there?
I wouldn't say necessarily busier, no.
Okay.
More festive. I mean, your typical holiday stuff is happening throughout the city, but as far as busier. Now, as far as like renting an apartment or finding like an Airbnb, it may be a little bit more difficult just because that's typically when people come because it's the cooler seasons. And they generally leave around this time, like between now and May, people are leaving and then they're coming back in the winter. So that may be something. But other than that, no.
But if people plan early, they should be okay?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I saw a question, I forgot about a question earlier, but it was about snowbirds. Are there a lot? But it sounds like there are quite a lot that come down for the winter.
They're out of here. Like come around this time of year, they're out.
Daria asked where you went to find listings of your home, but you worked with the realtor that you found in the Brothers and Sisters of Merida group, right?
It was in that group, because that group was not around at that time. It was a different,
Okay.
probably
Okay.
Merida Amigos, maybe.
Merida Amigos, which you mentioned earlier, which I will put in the comments when I actually find the link to it. I'll put it in the description. Bum, 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 bum. As a single female, are there certain neighborhoods better to live in than others? I'm assuming it's very family centric there. So I think that is probably half a safety question and half a like, what is there to do that's not like if you don't have kids with you.
So really, like anywhere that you live here is pretty much safe. From what I have read and what people say, that the south of Merida, like closer to the airport, is unsafer. I can't speak to it. I've only been to the airport in that area, so I don't even know. But generally, anywhere like Central, I live in Central, it's fine. I walk around all the time. I live like on one of the busiest streets in the city, and it's perfectly fine. You can live in the north, it's fine. Like it's generally safe all around, so that's not really an issue. Of course, you have to use discernment as with anywhere, but other than that, it's fine.
Okay, that is good to know. Let's see what else. Daria says she's getting the workshop. Yes, girl. We had a lot of people who were like, "Oh, I can do this." Like, because getting residency in Mexico isn't. It's not like some other countries where they're like, even to visit, you've got to give them like your DNA from your grandfather. It's not like that. Mexico was like, hi, write your name on a page and we'll let you come here. So let's see. Anything else I missed? Stephanie's in the comments giving scorpion advice. I'm going to ignore that. Well, someone asked how you get rid of a scorpion and she had an answer and I don't. Not into it. Is it easy to find a COVID-19 test there? Someone asked, where do you go? But is it easy to find one?
Yep, I've had several. You can go to the hospital. I know that they have drive-throughs or something. I usually have a physician come to the house, and I paid, I think, like 1,000 pesos, around 50 USD, to get the finger prick. And I got the results back in 15 minutes. I've done that several times. Now with the US requiring that COVID test be required when you come back, you can get them easily at the airport. I did that, got the results in 30 minutes. It was, I think, around 660 pesos, I want to say. I don't know. I can't remember the exact amount. But yeah, you can get them easily. So.
Okay. All right. I have had Colby online for a little while now. It's like 115. We started before you guys, so we've been here for a while. So I'm going to drop the link if you want to work. If you have questions about Merida, you can book a session with Colby and ask her your questions. We are done for the day. I know some of y'all didn't get your questions answered. Sorry. But if I keep her too long today, she might never come back, and we might want her to come back because this is so good. And we've learned so much today. So I'm going to drop a link in the comments right now to book a session with her. Let's see. That's in there. And I'm also going to drop her some other links from her so that you know where to find her online. Because she is just a wealth of information. Her blog is truly one of the best. I look at it and I'm like, I wish my blog could look like that. I'm not going to do the work for it to look like that, but it's so pretty. And her advice is so good. Colby on Insta. So I'm going to drop her Instagram here. You can see all her pretty pictures because they are stunning. And back to her website. And I already dropped a link to 2 blog posts in the chat. One was about Meredith moving there in general, and one was about the best co-working spaces. So explore her website, look at how gorgeous everything is, and think about, but don't forget how hot it is there. When we look at her pretty pictures, I'm warning y'all, don't look at her pretty pictures and get distracted.
Right.
It's hot. It's hot. Oh, no. Okay, there's one last question I have to ask because it's come up multiple times, and I would be a bad Black woman if I didn't. Uh, have you gotten your hair done there? Do you have any hair care in Merida tips for us?
Okay. So the first question, I got my hair, oh gosh, I got my hair braided here one time.
I hear the trauma. I hear the trauma coming. I do.
I almost want to drop a link of what I wanted, what I expected versus what I got. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad, and my head, like she did it so tight. I woke up
Oh,
at 3 o'clock in the morning and cut every last one of those braids out. The day she
oh,
did it that day, and at 3 o'clock in the morning, I was like, I know I'm not going to keep this because it looks
oh.
freaking mess. And so
It
I
looked
cut
a
them out.
mess too? Tight
It
and
was
a mess?
horrible. It was horrible. The kind of hair, like the synthetic hair that on baby dolls, that's the kind of hair that she
Mm.
used. And she tied them with like rubber bands on the root and at the bottom. Not
Oh,
what I asked for. So it's very bad. Do not recommend. So if you
okay.
want to, okay.
Was she Black or was she Mexican?
Not.
She was not Black.
She was Dominican. She was Dominican.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought,
Mm-hmm.
I, I don't know what I thought, but I thought wrong.
Okay.
Whatever it is, I thought wrong. So if you want to get your hair braided or something, be sure to bring your own hair because the type of hair that people typically use is not here. So bring your own hair. I will say though, as far as products, they do have more products than I've ever seen in any other country as far as like hair care products for Black women. So you'll find like Shea Moisture.
Okay.
You'll find, I can't even think of the names now. Like, I can't think of the names, but you'll find hair care products for Black women here. And they have a Sally's. So you can find extra stuff there. Someone just posted in the Brothers and Sisters group like a whole list of stuff and photos that she found in Sally's. So you can find products here. If there's something like super specific, catered to your specific type of hair, your favorite products, bring those. You
Bring your
might
favorite
not find,
products is what I say too.
yeah,
Yeah.
bring your favorite products. But you can find, if you just need something to get you by, you can probably find it here.
Um, where are you finding Shea Moisture? I'm not finding it in Mexico City. Oh no, I am in some products in Walmart.
Okay. Yeah. In Walmart, and we have Shadrawi. I found
Yeah.
stuff in
Oh, I
Shadrawi.
haven't. Okay, I haven't looked in
I
Chedraui.
think it was like last week from there, like a castor oil
Okay.
hair shampoo from Shea Moisture. And Superama. I don't know if this Superama is like a region just here in Merida, but we have a Superama and you can find a lot of hair care products there. It's like a grocery store. So
Yeah. Yeah. The Superamas here are owned by Walmart.
yeah, they
Okay.
are. They just recently switched over, changed over. Something happened, but yeah, it is.
Okay. So yeah. So Walmart, Chedraui,
Mm-hmm.
Superama are
Yeah.
places. My Superama is a block away. It doesn't
Oh,
have.
nice.
It has a lot of different types of hair care products, but not Shea Moisture doesn't have.
Oh,
Walmart has them, and I'll check Chedraui
yeah,
and see if they
Shadrawi.
do too. Yeah. Awesome. This was great. If I didn't get to your question, you can always book a session with Colby. Don't ask me any Merida questions because I ain't got it for you. I don't. I don't have it for you. Um, and if you're in the comments mad that your questions didn't get answered, instead of actually just dropping your question again like I asked you to,
Marie.
I'm not that sorry. Anyway, thanks. It's been fun. I'm just like, I said drop your question again, and instead you're talking about how I didn't answer your question, and I'm not going to go back and find out what your question was. I'm just not.
Sure. That's okay. You can ask me.
Book a session with Colby. She's got you. I do not. This was fun. Catch you next time.
Yes. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.